Cristiano Ronaldo in shock return. Europa League action is back. Donnarumma nears the exit, a transfer roundup, and today's Friday feels all coming up in the next few minutes. As I am your host, Matt Froelich, you are the OneFootballers, and this is the Daily News. So first off, and yes, believe it, Cristiano Ronaldo is returning to Real Madrid. I say believe it, it's just a rumour at the moment, but according to quite some reputable papers in Spain and Italy, his agent is sounding out whether or not a move to the Bernabeu would be possible. Can you imagine the scenes? I also, alongside this, can only imagine that if Ronaldo does return to Real Madrid, Messi will be like, yeah, go on then, I'll stay at Barca. We'll reignite the rivalry. It's like two heavyweights coming back to just make a little bit more money. Anyway, things at Juventus or Cristiano haven't exactly gone quite well, and even last season there were rumours that he was thinking maybe the move to Serie A wasn't exactly the right step in his career. At the moment, he's 36 years old, but really doesn't show much sign of slowing down. Certainly his league form has been brilliant. He's been scoring goals by the hatful, and he's still the same Cristiano Ronaldo. Should he turn to Real Madrid, it will be a brilliant partnership yet again because, well, without one another, both have suffered. As you mentioned, Ronaldo hasn't exactly done well in the Champions League, considering his Juve side haven't got past the quarter-finals in 3 years, and Real Madrid, since losing Cristiano Ronaldo, also haven't got past the quarter-finals. At least not to my knowledge as well. I'm trying to think right now. Anyway, it hasn't gone so well, so surely reuniting them would be a massive, massive deal. Just the thought of it is just blowing my mind right now. Obviously, there is the talk of finances, and it's been a difficult year for most clubs around the world, and Juventus know that if they're not going to sell him this summer, they're not going to get much money for him anyway because his contract does expire next summer. It'll probably be a minimal fee, but of course, because it's Cristiano, he'll still want one hell of a wage. And actually, Real Madrid are in the business of talking new contracts at the moment, at least with some players. With Rafa Varane, they've sat down to discuss a new deal with a French defender. 27 years old, he's been brilliant for almost a decade for them, won absolutely everything in football, and he's definitely worth it. With Sergio Ramos, on the other hand, apparently the latest is they still haven't offered him anything, so clearly they do have some sort of plan, but this is where it gets a bit tricky and complicated. If they're not willing to offer Sergio Ramos more than a one-year deal because he's over 30 years old, what are they going to be offering Cristiano Ronaldo? He's like 2 years older than Ramos. It is Ronaldo. But then if they go and break this rule and give him like a 2-year deal that they're not giving Ramos, all hell's going to break loose. I don't want to be in that boardroom. Anyway, it'll be an unbelievable return if, like we mentioned, he does come back to La Liga. Moving on though, and to last night's Europa League action, and for both sides of North London, there were some pretty good preparations ahead of their game at the weekend. Arsenal host Spurs on Sunday, and in the Europa League, both had pretty impressive victories. Arsenal's a little bit more impressive, especially considering their defensive lapse. An absolute nightmare yet again for the Arsenal defence, but going forward they were great, and Martin Odegaard opened his account. A stunning, vicious strike was one of 3 for Arsenal as they won 3-1 away at Olympiacos. As for Spurs, a little bit more routine at home to Dinamo Zagreb, with of course Harry Kane getting both goals in a 2-0 victory. Just a few days, as you mentioned, before the North London derby. And for those of you wondering my thoughts on it and my predictions, stick around to the end of the video where the Friday field predictions will be coming up. And of course, that game is one of them. Elsewhere in the Europa League, and things didn't go so well for Manchester United. Yes, on the face of it, you could see Amad Diallo scored a brilliant goal, by the way. His first for United. They were winning 1-0. Things were looking good for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But having watched the game and then seeing Simon Kjær score a last-minute equaliser for AC Milan, it was thoroughly deserved. Frank Kessié in midfield, by the way, was unbelievable. He had a goal harshly ruled out in the first half, and AC Milan were very good value for their draw that they're going to take back to San Siro. And next week, United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer have a huge task to make it through to the next round. But if you look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's record in the clutch games, in the big moments, he more often than not pulls through, so maybe Manchester United do have reason to be positive. Elsewhere, and there are actually rather comfortable wins, especially for this stage of the Europa League. The likes of Granada, Villarreal, Roma, who was the other one as well? Ajax, all had fairly comfortable victories to nil, and the only other game was a draw involving Slavia Prague and Steven Gerrard's Rangers, who fresh from winning the title, put in a pretty good performance and now take that back to Ibrox next week. Oh, lastly but not least from the Europa League action and the Manchester United game, if you haven't seen Harry Maguire's miss, check it out. Unbelievable. It's like 1 yard from goal, smashes off the post. Insane. Anyway, moving on, but to some transfer news involving someone from that Manchester United AC Milan game, and it is the keeper, Gianluigi Donnarumma. You all know who he is now because he broke into the AC Milan team age 16 and now has over 200 appearances for the side, even captaining them last night. But apparently things aren't all well at the club. This summer, his contract expires. Now, as a young goalkeeper who's brilliant, he's definitely going to be one of the most expensive in the world should he go for a transfer fee. So losing him for free is insanity. Apparently his agent, Mino Raiola, yes, it's a Mino Raiola story, so this is going to get a little bit wild, is in talks with all sorts of clubs as well as AC about a brand new deal for the Italian. So at the moment he's on around 5 million euros per year and they're willing to offer him 6.5 million euros per year, but no, he wants 8. That is a massive pay rise. Not for teams in the Premier League though. Apparently Chelsea and Manchester United are both interested in him, and after seeing Dean Henderson's not great piece of goalkeeping to let him equalise last night, there are still questions about David De Gea as well. Maybe they could be interested in Donnarumma, and the same thing goes for Chelsea. Obviously, the jury is definitely still out against Kepa, even though Thomas Tuchel's come in. Edouard Mendy's been a really good goalkeeper since coming in, so I'm not sure they need Donnarumma, but having him on a free transfer makes such good business sense. Not only are you signing a goalkeeper for the next potentially like 15 years, also you can then go and sell him in a few years for 100% profit because he hasn't cost a transfer fee to come in. If Chelsea or United want to go and sign him and make him their number one, they can then sell another goalkeeper also for a fair amount of money. So business-wise, it actually does make a lot of sense as well, which is probably why they're both interested in him despite the fact they've already got quite a few number one goalkeepers at both teams. If he stays at AC Milan, of course, that would be the more romantic option. And personally, I think they'll be able to strike a deal. Next up then, a quick run up of the rest of today's transfer news that you might have missed. And Porto defender Chancellor Mbemba, once of Newcastle United, is the latest centre-back to be linked with a move to Liverpool. Upon Sheffield United being relegated, I'm sorry, it looks like it's going to happen. Apparently, midfielder Sander Berg will be available for around £22 million. Elsewhere, Juventus are still interested in bringing Jorginho back to Serie A with their move for the Italian midfielder in the summer. And Ajax talent Brian Bobby, who last week said that he won't be moving to RB Leipzig, now looks like he might be moving to the Bundesliga side on a free transfer in the summer. Finally then, this week's Friday Feels. This is where you guys can leave your footballing predictions in the comment section down below. We read out a few of the correct ones on Monday. Yet again, as we approach the end of the season, another big weekend of football. And first off, in the Bundesliga, I'm going to actually for Frankfurt to win 2-1 away at Leipzig, a big game in the Champions League places there. As for Serie A, AC Milan host Napoli, and I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory for AC Milan. And in the North London derby, like I mentioned, it's a big game. It's never not a big game. I'm going for a 2-2 draw. My head says 2-2. Both teams very good attackers. Both teams a little bit suspect in defence every so often. My heart's a little bit more positive than that for Spurs, but my head's going 2-2, so that's my prediction. That's all from me then today. Make sure you let me know your predictions below. Check out everything else you've got going on, and until next time, have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys later.